If I told you I would pay you $500 to throw your phone into the middle of the ocean right now, would you do it? 1,000? 10,000? All your pictures, texts, emails, and files are gone in the blink of an eye. What if the proposal changed, though, to going just a simple week? No phone. Some adults may be inclined for the cash reward, but most teenagers living in the age of technology wouldn't jump too quickly at the offer. My parents started sending me to summer camp when I was just 6 years old. It began as 2 weeks in the sunny Sierras, yet my love for camp was so explosive, to the point that I was going for up to 5 weeks at a time. But there's a catch. No phone, no laptop, and no technology for what most people would think is an excruciating amount of time. Imagine this: the Taylor Allison Swift, 12-time Grammy-winning, Ticketmaster-shattering artist, comes back from her 5th year off the grid. She surprise drops her latest album, and you can't even listen to it for 5 long weeks. The truth is, this whole no technology deal started as a minor detail, because as a 6-year-old, I had little idea as to what technology even was. But as I got older and older, spent more and more time at camp each year, I became increasingly aware of what it meant to ditch all forms of it. Society told me it should be unbearable, but I couldn't help but feel overjoyed to go back each year. After watching my friends drown in the whirlpool of social media, I realized how light and free I felt in the Sierras. Contrary to some popular belief, that wasn't attributed to amazing activities like wake surfing, rock climbing, or horseback riding, but something much deeper. I connected so well with camp because it was my first insight into relationships which developed entirely from face-to-face connection. One of my most transformative experiences took place this past summer on a 2-week backpacking trip in the Sierra National Forest. I was accompanied by 13 other high schoolers and 2 counselors, some of whom I was meeting for the first time. So yes, my anxiety was at an all-time high when I realized I would be spending the next 8 days in the middle of the woods with some complete strangers. Shockingly, the amount of hours in a day opens up tremendously when there is quite literally nothing else to do but hike and talk. Very quickly on the trail, I felt as though some of these people were the ones who knew me best in the whole world. Without our phones in the way of conversation, we dissected family relationships, talked about our views on faith, and shared humorous stories from all of our different walks of life. Most importantly, we jumped to the future, which at the time included a real bed, hot shower, and far fewer mosquitoes. Besides just telling stories, we learned how to support each other, how to communicate, and how to solve problems as a group while still being uncomfortable with one another. Hiking up a cliff in the California sun with a 40-pound backpack is no easy task. But you know what's even harder? Having to ask the whole group to stop because you need a break. Everyone wants to put their best foot forward when meeting new peers. But nature makes our ego take a back seat and lean on one another instead. We very quickly learned who can stretch out a leg cramp the best, who can actually season food, and who has the ability to tell left from right on a map. In a lot of ways, nature forced us to work as one. Frankly, there really was no other option. But that's the point. That when taking technology out of the equation, the importance of these face-to-face connections rose to the surface and led us to our destination in one piece, mostly. Consequently, camp led to the development of my self-confidence. For 11 months each year, I scrolled through social media, watching makeup tutorials and seeing the latest hack for losing 5 pounds on my stomach. But for that one precious month at camp, I lived with 10 other girls my age, and not once did we find ourselves wishing we looked any different. Remember that backpacking trip with no phone? I also did it with no deodorant. Yeah, bears can smell it too. You see this view right here? This was my bathroom for 8 days. And I was okay with it because I was having the time of my life. I came to the simple conclusion, I am more beautiful when I am having fun. I couldn't obsessively look in a mirror or check my phone camera to see how I looked, but if you were wondering, this is what I looked like for a majority of the trip, after repeatedly falling down every hillside. My looks were probably the least of my concerns, though. We were more worried about making it up that mountain pass than the dirt on our knees and faces. You have to pick and choose a lot of battles in life, and I chose to find comfort in my own skin, rather than trying to fight it. Being an Earth's beauty truly helped me appreciate my own, both inside and out. Nature opened my eyes to a bigger world, one that pushed me outside of my comfort zone. I began to understand that everything I was stressed about before, how I looked, seemed, and acted, mattered a whole lot less. I mean, looking at this view, it seems silly to stress about that AP test score, or that the precious curls in my hair fell out of perfection. Standing on top of these huge mountains overlooking all of these views, everything seemed so small. From swimming in a snow-melted lake to dancing in a meadow, I realized how minuscule, unnecessary stresses were in the grand scheme of things. All of these revelations didn't just happen overnight, though. Rather, years and years of learning to balance my relationship between technology and nature. It's easier said than done. I practiced logging out of social media during the school week, only to overbinge it on the weekends. I woke up early to watch the sunrise, only to go home and spend the extra hours online. Each moment I found myself in this cycle, I had to take a step back and ask myself how my life was benefiting from my actions. Don't mistake my point as just put your phone down an hour earlier before bed, or go on a hike once a week. Instead, the harmony of the two together, finding the intersection and where they mold your life. Asking yourself the question, do I control my phone, or does my phone control me? It starts with the little things. Letting your eyes take a break from the screen glare and breathe in the fresh air. Switching out the ping of your cell phone to hear the birds chirp. Taking a moment to reflect on how this boost of serotonin is far more impactful than those quick hits of dopamine you get from doom scrolling on social media. Releasing yourself from the chains of technology and instead letting yourself run wild and free in the beautiful valleys and hills that surround us will truly open your eyes to the pinnacle and realness of life, with better relationships and a better you. Thank you.